Hello, 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 and welcome to Goddesses of a New You. I am Rubylee B, and today I want to talk about the age of Aquarius. Every so often, I am reminded that we are in a new age. Okay? We are in a completely new age, and my experiences within this new age that we're now living in, I truly believe that we are at the very, 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 very beginning of this new age. And so as time goes on, as the years go on, right, we're going to get deeper and deeper into this age of Aquarian, right? And we will experience more Aquarian-like things. And so my personal opinion and experiences, what this new age has taught me is that people cannot hide from their truth. People can no longer hide from their truth, including me, right? The truth is coming up like vomit, okay? The truth is coming up like diarrhea, okay? As a matter of fact, I was in a conversation with a lady a few weeks ago, and we were talking about, workout. She was talking about working out and going to the gym, and then she started to talk about her man, and then she just drifted off into a conversation of her not being able to keep the gay porn off her television. And she went on to say she doesn't know what it is about it, but two men, she loved to see two men having sex. So I was like, oh wow, right? Inside I was laughing to myself because this lady had no idea that she'd drifted off into a topic of discussion that wasn't related to what we were talking about, right? And so it is my firm belief that if you're not telling the truth to yourself, okay, the people that are blurting out these random things that has nothing to do with the topic of discussion, I truly believe it is because they're not in alignment with their truth, right? They're not having the conversation with themselves about what they truly think, how they truly feel. They're not doing the inner work, the inner soul work to dissect what is in them, right? Right? And so I had to take a moment and I said, I'm grateful, thankful that I do my inner work, okay? I'm grateful and thankful that I tell myself the truth all the time. I have conversations and discussions with myself about my core truth. I mean, that's my goal every year is to rise to the next level of my truth, and bust through whatever illusions that may be over me or that I may have been operating in, right? And so I, am all about self-discovery, and so, but for the people that don't know to do inner work, for the people who are not into self-discovery, I am experiencing, these, weird things that just comes out in the midst of conversations with people that has nothing to do with what we were talking about, and so people cannot hide from their truth, right? The truth is coming up, like I said, like diarrhea, like vomit. It's hilarious to me at times. And sometimes it could be quite hurtful. You know, I had another experience here recently where I was at the European Wax Center, and I was registering my Darty. Well, actually, I was checking my Darty in. And this biracial girl comes in, and I'm standing sideways. And so I can see her in the back of me, and I'm looking at my daughter at the same time. But when this biracial girl, when she, I call her the crinky, curly biracial girl. But anyways, the kinky curly hair. But anyways, it was quite obvious that she was bothered by my presence. You know, I mean, she was like just glaring at me, just staring at me like I'm just some little foreign, little black creature, you know, some alien creature that she has never seen before. Now, you know, I am fully aware, you know, where I live at. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I live in Kentucky, okay? Kentucky, okay? So, you know, the racism is you know, is real here, you know, but, you know, it's always disappointing when you see another person of color, you know, come in and they are more disgruntled of my presence than the white people that were serving us. White people wasn't bothered at all, right? But for some reason, this biracial girl, the kinky curly hair girl with the green eyes, was just so bothered. I mean, she just kept looking at me, you know, and even, you know, when I took a seat and they called her back, she was just like looking like, what are you doing here? I never seen you before. Like, just this snobbish, snooty. And I'm like, girl, somewhere in your lineage, somewhere in your family, okay? Your great grandma, your grandma, somebody in your family looks like me, okay? Whether you know it or not, okay? But, you know, it was just real disappointing, you know, like when she came in, the energy shifted completely. And, you know, I do what I do, you know, I act unbothered, you know, even though, you know, I can see. And me being very empathic, being very sensitive, you know, yeah, I can act unbothered, but that does not mean that I don't notice. And that does not mean that my little feelings isn't hurt, you know what I mean? Just naturally hurt, you know, and disappointed that I am experiencing this from another black girl, you know. So yeah, so like I said, you know, in that moment, you know, like I said, I do what I do. I override it, mind my own business, you know, put my little headsets on, listen to whatever it is that I was listening to, you know, and I go on by my day, and I really don't think nothing much about it. But for whatever reason, that Saturday morning when I got up, like all of the hurt and the pain that I felt in that moment just all came to me. And so I've been doing a lot of writing. And so, you know, when I have these moments of just being deeply disturbed by something that happened in the past, or something that someone said or did, or whatever it may be, whatever the hurt may be, you know, I get my journal out, or I get my phone out, and I just write out my pain. And that's why I call it, I have a whole journal that is dedicated to just writing out my pain. And I tell you, that helps so much. Like, I write until my energy has shifted. I write until I get it all out, whatever it is, that all the inner conflict, all the inner chatter, I write until I release all of the pain, and I am in a state where I feel better. You know, I released it, and I can, you know, move on with my day, move on with whatever it is that I choose to think about. And so, you know, in that particular situation, like I said, you know, we are living in a new age, and people's truth is rising to the surface. People cannot hide, you know, how they feel. you know, and but what is needed is healing. You know, all of this stuff that we were able to hide in the old world, right? The age of Pisces. We're no longer, we can't hide it anymore, you know, and it is my personal belief and my personal motto is that, you know, your greatest asset in this age of Aquarius is you getting to know yourself. Knowing thyself is going to be your greatest asset. Not knowing yourself, being unaware of yourself, being unaware of your thoughts, being unaware of your energy, being unaware of your emotions is, you know, will be your greatest downfall. You know, you cannot afford not to know thyself. And so I will encourage, you know, anybody who is watching this video to do personal development work. You know, personal development work is very needed. Spiritual development work is very needed. I do all three. I do personal, spiritual, professional development work. Those three things go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. You need all three, you know, to really, you know, heal and to discover your truth and to, you know, and to, you know, like I said, be aware of thyself. And so, yeah. And so that is it. That is the inspired message for today. That's my little story time. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to Goddesses of a New You. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.